The 4th of July usually brings barbecues and fireworks, but this year the government lit a different kind of fuse. The big, beautiful bill exploded onto the scene, introducing sweeping changes to federal student loans that families everywhere are still trying to make sense of. Listen in as I break down simply what actually happened and what it means for your wallet. I'll also give you a summary of the higher ed landscape and what that means to you and your family now. Then we're shifting gears to talk about college move in season, aka the emotional roller coaster of packing up your child, braving campus chaos, and pretending you're not crying behind your sunglasses. I'll share what worked, what I wish I left behind, and how to make the most of move in day without losing your mind. And if you stick around to the end, I've got a freebie bundle that'll help you stay organized and one step ahead with everything in this episode. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Between the Laugh Lines, where laughter meets life lessons. Here we go. I'm Deb, your host, and today's episode is for all those parents navigating the college years, for new parents getting ready to drop off in a few weeks, to those seasoned ones who need to stay in the loop on how the recent domestic bill impacts their family. So today we're going to dive into two big things. So the impact of the recently approved quote unquote big beautiful bill, specifically what it means to college students, parents regarding federal loan limits and the general changes in the higher ed landscape. And because it's officially college move-in season, how to handle those emotional and logistical curveballs as your student heads off to college, especially for those with the first time. So let's get into this bill that everyone's been talking about. Officially approved on July 4th, 2025, very patriotic, one big beautiful bill, includes some major shifts for college families. I'm going to speak really briefly on the top areas impacted, as it can be very overwhelming and confusing with all the specific details. I encourage you to search it and read the full lengthy law if you have time and need to get to sleep. But anyway, I will prepare a quick summary chart that you can obtain for reference. It's going to really just touch on the 5 areas and the changes to those. For listeners like me, I'm totally a visual person and I need to see the data and keep it handy to refer back to. I am old school, and that's the way it is. So anyway, here it is. Here are the 5 biggest things you need to know and how it's going to impact higher education. So please note these changes take effect beginning July 1, 2026. So number 1, Parent Plus loans are capped now. So parents can only borrow $20,000 per year with a max of $65,000 total. Yes, do the math. College is typically 4 years times 20 equals $80,000. But no, it's now capped at $65,000. Okay? So that's a big shift for families relying on those type of federal funds. Previously, parents could borrow up to the full cost of attendance at a college. So what's the cost of attendance? Generally speaking, that's tuition, housing, dining, fees, books and supplies with limits, and transportation. If you listened to my first episode and downloaded the template, factoring in the college costs and stuff over 4 years, you can see that this loan limitation is very impactful to many, many families. If you haven't downloaded the template, do so now and you'll understand. Okay, so number 2, Grad Plus loans are out. So this is for graduate students, where graduate students used to borrow unlimited amounts to cover tuition and expenses similar to the above, full costs of attendance. Now they're capped at $20,500 per year. Okay, grad school is typically more than undergrad, so not cool, with a lifetime limit of $100,000. Now, professional students like medical and law school students, they have their own cap of $50,000 per year and $200,000 per lifetime because those colleges cost way, way more money. These, again, are huge differences. They're going to impact what path students take now to study, whether they're going to want to become a medical student or a law student or even just go to grad school. So check the regs, as there are many more nuances with Grad Plus. that I'm sure I'd lose everybody immediately, but stay with me. So that was 2. 3. So now there's a lifetime federal student loan limit of $257,000. Okay, so there's no more endless borrowing. It affects both grad and parent loans combined. So looking at what I previously mentioned to you, and if you look at my cost template, this is very limiting, okay, for people who are unable to pay for college costs right now out of their bank account. Again, if you totally can, super cool, congrats, but for those who cannot, just listen in. So super quick example here. If the out-of-pocket cost to your undergraduate student, okay, regular undergraduate student at college A is $40,000, okay, that's out of pocket. So it's after any scholarships or, anything like that, just scholarships. It's $40,000 per year that you have to pay, times 4, right, is $160,000. So if parents can only get up to $65,000, right, over 4 years, where's the rest coming from? So that's $95,000 on my example. The student has to, can have their own loan options, okay, because originally we're just talking about parent. The student can have their own, but those are really peanuts, and it depends on literally the word dependency. But for example, undergraduate student loan options that a student can get is really maybe about $27,000 for 4 years. So I just said we were at 95 that we were looking to fill. Now we only have 27 of student loans. So now there's $68,000 left for 4 years. Where is that coming from? Nobody knows. I mean, it does create an opportunity for the private lender sector. But the question is, what will they do? Will they be fair and equitable to students and be kind with lower interest rates and make the market competitive? Who knows? Time will tell. Okay, so that's a lot to unpack, but there's limitations and it's harder. So just think about all that if you are someone who's looking at loans, considering loans, etc. Repayment options have changed. So this is number 4. If you are a previous student or a parent of a previous student and already have loans, there's repayment options when you want to pay back your loan to the federal government. So it used to be something called Save, Pay, or IBR. They are income-driven repayment plans. Now there's simpler system. There's only 2 options available for anyone who has loans and needs to repay them. So it's just going to be standard repayment and a new income-based repayment assistance plan. So there's only 2 options. I'm not going into them. Go to the web, research it, figure it out, but only 2 options. And finally, number 5, okay? Deferments and forbearance are more limited. So in general, both options allow one, meaning a student, to stop temporarily making payments on their federal loan because of some reason. So some examples include, they might be enrolled part-time in a college still, or undergoing cancer treatment, serving in the military, economic hardship, unemployed. A lot of students, when they graduate, don't actually get a job right away, and that's fine. The main difference between the two, between deferment and forbearance, is that deferment pauses interest to accrue on subsidized loans, whereas forbearance does not stop accruing interest. So you have to figure out which one is best for you and or your student, but the law has now changed. So again, starting July 1, 2026, no more economic hardship deferments. So that's not even going to be an option. There's a form you have to fill out, and that's going to be gone. And if you choose a forbearance, it's now capped at 9 months in total in a 24-month period. So it used to be, I think, 3 years that you can take forbearance. So 9 months, it's kind of crazy. So those are just 5 things from this big, beautiful bill that impacts federal loans and higher ed. Obviously, there's a lot more in that bill, but this just is how it relates back to higher ed. So my quick take, this bill definitely tightens things up, especially for middle-income families that relied on PLUS loans. And if you're navigating college costs right now, could be for a first-year student or someone, a seasoned person, my biggest advice is if you haven't completed your FAFSA for this upcoming academic year, so that means right now, fall starting in 2025, September, I would highly recommend connecting with your school's financial aid office ASAP. This may be the year to consider applying for federal loans if you were previously considering it. I'm not recommending to do so. I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying, please talk. It's going to be an individual family decision. Talk to the team at your student school. Know your options now, as well as knowing your options later, come July 1. So that's one advice. Two, understand any repayment options ahead of time if you do take a loan or if you have taken a loan in the past. Because once your student does graduate and they wait for their 9-month period after, then the loans start becoming due. Things are going to change again, like I just mentioned, different repayment options and such. And of course, definitely submit some kind of summary chart at the end so that people can see really quick these 5 options that impact higher ed and what was the law before and how does it change. So you can have a quick visual, like I said, because I am a visual person. All right. So now, because I am a higher ed professional, I wanted to share my perspective on the changing higher ed landscape. So part 2 of the overall higher ed update. Part 1 was loans. Now we're just talking about the landscape. So if you're unaware, universities and colleges across the U.S. are headed into what we professionals are calling the enrollment cliff. So some universities may already be experiencing this phenomenon over the past few years, depending upon where they're located. But what does this mean? So the enrollment cliff term means predicted decline in college and university enrollment in the U.S. And as I just mentioned, some schools are already starting to see this in this current academic year, 2025 and 2026. So what is it? It's driven by the demo shifts, specifically the drop in birth rates following the Great Recession in 2008, leading overall to less high school graduates, and thus a smaller pool of potential college students. Even though the demo stats are the main driver, other factors like the value of a degree, we just talked about costs and loan limitations, things like that, affordability and economic concerns play a role too. And we also can't forget good old COVID-19 pandemic, the impact that had on students and the changes in teaching in high school. And what we higher ed professionals say is there's unfinished learning. I mean, everyone has to admit that the learning changed during the COVID-19 period. So there's a tremendous catch-up curve for the students during this COVID-19 pandemic with possible unfinished learning and how it impacts their success in a college setting. Some students just couldn't handle it coming back. And that's what we're seeing when students come into college. They're just not understanding how to learn in an academic setting because they weren't used to that for a few years. So what are the strategies from both a higher ed university side and a possible future college student or family during this crazy time period? Okay, so universities. Just let me give you my perspective since I am a professional at a university. Okay, there's financial pressures. So less students clearly means less revenue earned, which can lead to layoffs, budget cuts on programs, and/or limitations on program offerings. For some smaller schools, this may lead to, and it has led to, universities shutting down, which honestly is not something I would have ever thought to have happened, to see colleges closing. So over the past 12 months, July to July, 16 universities and colleges have closed in the United States. Several others have combined with other schools just to survive. Just to say, hey, I'm partnering with this school and they have so many other options, but you'll be an enrolled student here. I mean, it's crazy to think about. Anyhow, so that's one. There's total increased competition for students, right? So think about it now. If there's less students going to college, intense competition. So every university wants your student if you're applying. And obviously, if you meet all the application credentials for that university. But huge competition. So some strategies that schools are taking or should be taking, including changing their recruitment process. So we know that we have to change the way we market to students. We're definitely prioritizing retention and student success. We know that the students that are here, we want them to succeed. And how do we do that in the best possible way? We're expanding learning experiences by offering online options. And as I just mentioned, collaborating with other schools to broaden offerings. Why not? whether it's in the United States or even international. There's more study abroad opportunities too. That's enticing. So as a student or a family, so what kind of, should you look out to as a listener of student of a family? So students may have the upper hand for a few years, albeit, okay, I know, dare I say that, but you may have the upper hand for more admission opportunities and securing more merit awards. Okay, so the basics remain the same. Continue to take rigorous courses and maintain a good GPA. Take the standardized tests, even if the university says it's optional. Keep taking until you feel good about the scores based upon what you learned from researching whatever school you're looking at, you want to apply to, and what ranges of scores that they're looking to take as a student. Okay, you still have to meet their application credentials. Be more well-rounded and involved in extracurricular activities or volunteering opportunities. Actively engage with the top colleges that you're interested in applying or have applied. Attend events and engage on their social media accounts. Okay, and you have strong letters of recommendations to support your character. Write the compelling essay. Don't rely on AI. Ensure there's personal experiences that are true to who you are. So a little sidebar on AI. I mean, obviously, it's taking over the world. Everyone's using AI for everything. I mean, it started in high school, now it's in colleges for writing anything. Letters, memos, emails, reports, executive summaries. I mean, it's insane, really, what it has done and what it has become, and it's fascinating. But I think what you as a parent or as a student need to remember is that it's just a tool. You can't use AI to replace everything. Okay, it is never going to replace a human. It's a tool. And it's okay to use tools. The world would be lost without any tools. So use the AI, but make sure you're not relying on the AI. Human nature and humans are still going to continue. So it's just really important to use your own words, use your own experiences, because that's what's going to stand out. AI may look beautiful, may sound great, intelligent, but we definitely know when it's not a real, authentic essay. So definitely use it as a tool to customize, to play, but use your own personal experiences. Okay, so going back, be mindful of your own social media accounts and what they are showing the world as to who you are. Okay, so people, obviously students, everyone uses social media accounts everywhere, every day, every second, it seems like it. But make sure it's portraying the best self. Colleges are looking. I mean, another sidebar thing to think about is right now, one of the changing landscapes of higher ed is that international students are having a tremendous, terrible time getting into the United States to go to college because the law recently changed where in order to get a visa, they're scanning their social media accounts. So this is the U.S. government, which we all knew kind of Big Brother was watching, but they're looking now at international students' social media accounts before they will give them a visa or even a visa application and then an interview to come into the United States and to apply to a university. So be very mindful of your students, yourself, social media accounts, what it's saying, what it's putting out there. Who are you showing the world that you are? I just think it's super important that you understand that and you know the impact because it really does live forever. It does not go away. So that's a sidebar there. Negotiate merit awards. I think I talked about this on episode 1 as well. During the admission cycle is if you have 2 offers of merit awards from 2 different schools that you like, talk to the school that you really, really want to go to if another school gave you more money. But be mindful that you kind of have to make sure they are similar schools, meaning whether they're both private, both public, the number of students, things like that, the programs that are offered. So it's just another sidebar thing to think about, but you can negotiate and talk to your school about your merit award and the difference in packages. Okay. So that was a lot on just in general, the higher ed landscape and new laws, changes, and how overall higher ed landscape is changing and how it impacts the university as well as students and families. So now it's important to shift gears. So let's talk a little about college move-in because that is happening here and now. And whether you've got a first-year student heading to college this fall, first off, I mean, super crazy time, trust me. I know I'm sure you've been packing for months and ordering things on Amazon and boxes coming to your house and buying clothes and God knows what. But anyway, I am sending you a big virtual hug. I've been there twice from when my two boys went off to college for the first time. And now one of them has graduated, but now my second is now going into his junior year. But every time, my heart tugs when I hug and kiss him goodbye, even though he's 20. But I leave him at his university 500 miles away. It's hard. I mean, we're only human nature. So let's talk emotional prep. So expect tears from them, from you, from both. I mean, I cried a good 10 minutes in the car when we got in the car on the first time after I was leaving my son. Yeah, just kind of speechless, but it's normal. And then I cried again when I visited him at parent weekend and had to leave him again. I mean, we're only human. But expect tears and it's okay. And if they don't have tears, it's okay too. You know your child and what's going to happen and how you're hopefully preparing for that moment. My advice is set up weekly check-ins, at least for the first month, especially if it's a first-time college student. Super important to check in, make sure they're doing okay, mentally, emotionally, finding friends, going to classes. It could be a hard adjustment. It is a hard adjustment. I chose, I don't even know if I had a set day, but Sundays, you know based upon your student schedule and what's happening and when they're available to call. Okay. The other thing, to remember is it's okay not to love every minute at first. I think I mentioned too in my first episode that I eventually transferred home after a year, but it was hard at first being away from home. I was the youngest, like I said, of four children. And it's just a huge social, mental adjustment as well as educational, trying to figure out classes and where you're going and timing. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. So just make sure they know that it's okay. You might hate it in the first month, maybe even 2 months, but try your best to stick it out and, just communicate. I think that's the best thing I can do is say, communicate with your student. Encourage them to get out, whether it be joining a club or maybe they're into frat, sorority life, club sports, music, drama, theater, who knows? Like campuses have so many opportunities now. I think you just have to kind of nudge them along and hopefully through orientation they made some friends and already sort of figured it out and got a little circle. But if not, it'll happen. Trust me, it'll happen. They will find their people and hopefully it'll work out, but just take a chance. All right, logistical move-in. Every school does it differently. It's really hard. I have to say my one son's school down south did a phenomenal job of move-in. I can't compare really to, honestly, my current school, my son's, where he graduated, move in, but everyone's different. Everyone has their thing. But so just little logisticals, keep clothes on the hangers. That was like my silliest, dumbest mistake number one. I mean, I take things off the hanger, put them in a box or a suitcase, whatever, a bag, and then when you get there, you have to unfold them and put them again on the hanger. Dumb. No, just keep them on a hanger, throw them in like a garbage bag, and you're good to go. Super simple, easy. They don't really need as much as you're bringing down. I know you're like, just in case, but you're going to be down hopefully for parent weekend or any other weekend. They'll be home for breaks, so don't bring any non-seasonal clothes like jackets and things like that until they really need them. Yes, you can always ship things. I know it costs money, but it's a consideration. So just think about that. I don't know. It's just, we always overpack. I know I do, but it's just important that they don't really need all that stuff. plan to arrive early on move-in day. Even though you might have like a scheduled move-in time, just arrive early. Sometimes they let you move in early, than your scheduled time if you have that. I'm not really familiar with any school that's going to say no, come back in 2 hours or something like that. I can't. That would just be crazy. Bring a safe. So there's so many options on Amazon, even ones that don't look like safes. Think out of the box. I know I've seen one that literally looks like a clothes hanger, but it's a safe. So I mean, I thought that was really cool. But bring a safe. Why? Everything has value, but it's really for like headphones, computers. Really for me, it was medicine because my son takes medicine. So you want to put it away. College is weird. Students will take anything, especially medicine. So even if you're bringing a bike, bring a lock. So important. Now, these are 4 other things that, again, if your university at orientation didn't already talk about this, super important. I have to touch on these 4 things from a higher ed professional as well as a parent. So have your student sign up for FERPA. So what is FERPA? FERPA is Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's a U.S. law. Okay, it is not the school being annoying, but it's U.S. law. I know, obviously, as a higher ed professional, when we have parents call and they're screaming at us going, I pay the bill, I pay the bill. I said, great, but tell your student to fill out FERPA and then I'll be able to talk to you because it's U.S. law. No one likes to hear that, but that's the truth. So your student needs to fill out FERPA and put could be your, two spouse, whoever, guardian, put the person on FERPA, but the student must do it in order for us to talk to you about grades, financial, anything. So second, some schools may also have what they call an authorized user. So this is completely separate from FERPA. Okay, so it doesn't take over FERPA. It's completely separate. And really what it's allowing a person or 2 or 10. For authorized users, it could be a lot of people. But what it does is it gives them access to the financial system. So that's really what manages the bill. So to anyone to receive the bill, to pay the bill electronically, whether that be credit card or e-check, whatever your school offers, arrange for payment plans. So the authorized user can do that. The student doesn't have to worry about it. Possibly electronic refunds. So the same thing, the student has to authorize you, your spouse, whomever, as an authorized user. And then once you are set up, then you go into the system, you have your own login, you pay the bill, blah, blah, blah. Not many schools offer this, but there could be. I mean, we're trying to do this too, is have something like a parent portal. We used to have this in high school where I could just log in and see, my son's grades all the time. That's really all you're going to see in high school. But colleges don't do that because college recognizes that your student is an adult and hopefully they should be able to manage this. But if not, again, FERPA will let you talk to someone to talk about grades. And obviously you need to talk to your own student about getting grades and how they're doing and seeing them. I would highly recommend that because schools are not going to send you a grade report. Some schools do. Many do not. So that's up to you to have the conversation with your child, your student, about what grades they're getting and how they're doing academically. But FERPA is going to cover for you to talk to any school official for grades, financial, things like that. But you need the student to give you that authorization. So those are two big things that need to happen if they have not already happened before move-in. Okay, 2 more things. Consider tuition insurance if the school offers it. Okay, yes, it's insurance, and it has to be purchased before the school year starts. For my school, and I'm sure many, it's an outside vendor. It's an insurance company. And it protects your tuition, and sometimes the schools will offer it to protect housing and food. So what does it do? It's if a student has to withdraw, and that means fully withdraw, so not just drop one class because they didn't like it. Talking about fully withdraw from the university for that semester. It protects your tuition and room and possibly dining charges up to a certain level. But it only is going to cover, in most cases, for medical withdrawal or a mental withdrawal. And it's not 100%. It could be 70, 75, 80. Talk to your school, see if they offer it. So why am I doing this little plug? It's just a suggestion. If you, or I'm sorry, not you, but if your child or your student has a pre-existing medical condition, this is a no-brainer. Okay, like if you already know your child has a condition, there's a possibility that they might need to withdraw because they'll get sick or whatever the case may be. Get the insurance. It's going to cover you to get back your money over and above what the school's refund policy is. I know I'm talking a lot of semantics here, but it's really, really important. It really is. Obviously, it's optional. No one should force it on you, just, like anything. So it's optional, but talk to your school. Really important. So pre-existing medical condition, sort of a no-brainer. The other thing is students get mono. They do. I know. It's horrible. And mono can be really debilitating and exhausting, and they might have to withdraw. Students get hurt. If your student likes to skateboard, bike, whatever the case may be, I'm not wishing this upon anyone. Heaven forbid. Accidents happen. Okay? Yes. What else? Pneumonia. Pneumonia happens, and again, it causes people to miss a lot of classes, and if they can't catch up, you have to withdraw. I mean, it's just in everyone's best interest for learning. I know it really sucks, but, so it happens. People get sick. Think about it, consider it, talk to your student financial services counselor or whomever at your university for you to know more about that option and whether you think it's good for you. Okay, finally, last thing on this is some schools offer renter's insurance. Okay, yep, protect those personal assets. All right, so I know I said get a safe, but this is just another layer, okay, because believe it or not, yes, people steal. People steal on campuses, whether it could be a roommate, anyone. I mean, someone leaves a door open by accident. Who knows? And it's not just in your room, but it could be anywhere. So protect your assets. It's not just theft, but also there could be leaks in the building. Heaven forbid there's a fire. I don't wish that upon anyone. I'm just saying accidents happen, things happen. It's an option. So some schools offer the renter's insurance, same thing through a third party, or easy peasy, you look at your homeowner's policy and you might be able to just add on, this option for your student while they're away at school. All right. Those are just some personal higher ed tidbits, but also, it's personal. I mean, important things that I've looked at from my two kids. Okay, important departments you should know, and this is all, I know, going into move-in and drop-off, but I'm hoping they've discussed this during your students' orientation, or if you're in your second, third year, you kind of know this, but financial aid, know your financial aid office, the dean of students, student affairs is sometimes called that, academic advising, so they're the ones who help them set up their schedule, and also the health service department. Super important. Know where that is, or not necessarily you, but make sure your child, your student knows where the health service department is. Make sure the student knows how to submit a health form, where to pick up packages, schedule a meeting. I mean, this is all stuff that the student needs to know how to do. I'm just saying you should know too, because I can't even tell you how many times parents call my office, and my main office is in the student accounts area. And they're asking me about academic deans and professors and blah, blah, blah. So make sure you kind of understand who to go for what. And I did make, or I will be making, a cheat sheet to navigate, move in, a little checklist if anyone wants that, as well as important departments that you should know and where to go for what, just again, from a higher ed person's perspective. All right. The biggest advice, overall, is make sure your student knows all this information. Not the law and stuff like that, but yes, down the road, but not now. They need to act as on their own first. I mean, college starts independence. I hope everyone has had many conversations with their student before they even go to college. The summer is the best time to do that before. Drop off, I only intervene when my sons tell me that there's been no response after, let's say, 2 attempts. So that means I strongly encourage my children to email. If someone doesn't respond to an email, then a phone call. If a phone call doesn't work, then they need to make an appointment and talk to someone. And after all those things, if they're not getting the answer or people are not responding, A, unacceptable. And then B, then I get involved as the annoying parent because, yeah, sometimes you have to do that. But really, if the department doesn't respond, it's like 24, 48 hours max. It's really unacceptable. I mean, it's a business and we are the paying customers. That means parents and students, just like any other service-oriented business. I'm not saying be rude or expect people to listen to do exactly what you're demanding. Universities have policies in place for a reason, but a conversation is always required and a response. So that's my best advice there. Okay. Oof, that was a lot. I'm sorry. That's a wrap on today's episode. I tried to keep it, within 35, 40 minutes. I know I unloaded a lot. I'm really sorry. We uncovered some big policy changes happening in the U.S., government and some real life college move-in moments. If you found today helpful, share this episode with a fellow parent or a college-bound family. I will most likely, like I said, have some one-page giveaways to summarize all that was discussed. And of course, as promised, I have a beauty tip. So, taming thick, frizzy summer hair. Yeah. If you've seen me on Instagram, you know I have thick, wavy hair that needs taming in the New York summer humid heat. Yes. I know the struggle. Trust me. Even though I might wash it and want to keep it curly, no. The moment I hit outside, it expands and it's cray-cray. So here are the 3 practical tips, and then I'll put my other information probably in a post in Insta and on a pin, of course. So always apply anti-humidity products to damp hair. Not dry, damp. Lock in the moisture before the frizz starts. Air dry halfway, then finish with cool, I'm just going to say cool heat. That makes no sense. A cool shot from your dryer. Heating alone makes it worse if you overdo it. Don't skip on conditioner. I mean, opt for lightweight, but don't skimp on it. Like I said, I'll definitely put in a low, mid, and a high-end product that I utilize and some fan favorites. And overall, just honestly, the best one, I have to say, it's my mid, is the Color Wow Dream Coat. I mean, that works like a charm for me all the time. And like I said, if you've seen my hair on Insta, it's really thick, and this helps, and it stays for like a good 2 to 3 days. So, okay. Thanks for spending time with me today. Appreciate it so much. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, check out my free resources in the links. And of course, keep living beautifully, smiling and laughing. And remember, the laugh lines we see are totally worth the stories that created them, ladies. All right. Thanks so much.